Hello, Conrad and Lucy and Caleb. Papa is back with the rest of this Avengers story that sees the return of Giant Man, now called Goliath, and they're up against a new baddie who calls himself the Collector. Well, he didn't seem to be much, but he's got the Beetle under his obedience potion, and the Beetle is pretty effective. And I bet Collector has some other collections that he's going to call upon to fight against the Avengers, all because he's already captured the Wasp and he wants to collect the other Avengers as well. So let's see what's going on. You'll remember last time they were trapped inside the Collector's castle, and Scarlet Witch looks up and she sees the Beetle is about to pounce. All right, so Scarlet Witch is on hand, and Hawkeye's got his bow ready. Captain America is there with his shield, and I'm sure Hawkeye is running around at super speed. And so let's keep going. Patang! Beetle shoots out his suction cup fingertips to grab hold of Captain America's shield. He says, "Since you're the leader, you shall be my first captive, Captain America." "We'll see who's the captive and who's the captor," Cap replies. And behind him, Hawkeye says, "Blast it! I can't use my bow. You're in the line of fire." "Don't look now, but we're planning to keep you under wraps," says Cap. Thump! And he kicks him with his feet. But he thinks, "I wish I were as confident as I'm trying to sound. This character has all sorts of tricky gimmicks he can use," which is only too true. And one of those powers consists of armor-plated wings. "I admire your courage, Avenger, but not your judgment." Clang! "I pity you do not possess the power of flight, as I do." "Ugh!" groans Cap. "I didn't realize how heavy his artificial wings are, or the power he can wield with them." So there's Cap way up high. He falls and he says, "Hawkeye, maneuver 9, fast." Scarlet Witch asks, "Maneuver 9? What's that?" "Just watch, lady. It's a beaut." And so Hawkeye shoots out his arrow. Twang! It's a suction cup. Thwump! And it hits the wall at just the right spot. "Much obliged, loudmouth." And so Cap is able to grab that arrow and break his fall. Hawkeye says, "Don't mention it, Winghead. Try not to miss, will ya? I can't stand hearing a guy go splat." No, I wouldn't want Captain America to splat either. All right, back to the Beetle. He thinks, "They're clever, but I'll get them yet. All I need do is tear out this piece of stone wall." And so his suction cup fingers reach out. They grab the wall, and with the strength of his armor, they pull him out. Rip! "Then I'll drop it upon—" "What? What happened?" "Good work, Wanda." "Oh, no, you don't." Wanda gets into the action and shoots off a hex at him. And the Beetle thinks, "The Scarlet Witch, her accursed hex power. I can't let go of the stone." And so instead of dropping the stone, he drops with the stone. Bonk. "Fortunately, my wings were able to break my fall. And now, Avenger, you cannot escape me, for I have blocked the others with tons of rock and rubble." "You keep getting our situation mixed up, fella. It's you who can't escape now." "Do I make myself clear?" Wham! And Captain America hurls himself into the midsection of the Beetle. And then Cap realizes he's extending his suction-tipped fingers again. Clank! So Cap just whammers him with his shield. But he says, "I can't seem to stop him. It's like fighting an armored tank." Behind the mass of fallen rock, Hawk says, "We've got to reach Cap. He may need us." Is this Hawkeye talking? Why not? Even if he is a square, he's an Avenger, isn't he? So Hawkeye's going to defend Captain America, even if he does gripe about him all the time. Cap thinks his extendable fingers must be hydraulically operated. The pressure is unbearable. Ha! That did it, says Beetle, and not a moment too soon. Never have I come so close to abject defeat. Thump! And he tosses Captain America up against the wall. Meanwhile, in another section of the ancient castle, here comes Goliath at full height, full wingspan. He says, you can't escape, Collector. The only thing that will save you is freeing the Wasp. But he says, she is where you will never find her. And then, look, there's Quicksilver. He's running about looking for the Wasp, and he says, we'll see about that. This will slow you down, you fast-moving fool. Bong! And he hits this gong, and he says, I knew the sudden shockwave would get you. My ears! This gong emitted such strong sound waves that even though Quicksilver is speeding, he can't avoid the wall of sound that knocks him backward. But then a gigantic hand reaches down and crunch! That gong will never stop anyone again. That gong is like a frisbee in the hand of Goliath. Your mindless strength does not impress the Collector. With this crystal ball taken from an ancient Tibetan monastery, I can hurl mystic rays at you, rays so powerful that no living man can resist them. This is why nothing can defeat the Collector. The weapons of all the ages are mine. So these mystic rays emanate toward Goliath, and he says, my head pounding, pulsating, shocks, hammering at my brain. I can't see, can't hear, can't think. Size alone is useless against such an attack. I'm as helpless as a pygmy. Everything going black. Oh, no. And look, he collapses. Goliath collapses. He thinks, I've got to make one last effort somehow. Got to summon up enough energy just once before I conk out. Collector says, after you have been added to my collection, the others will be a matter of routine. Another few seconds and you'll be mine. But then, in one final Herculean demonstration of sheer willpower, sheer brute force, the rapidly weakening Goliath lashes out in grim desperation. Thwack! And so he knocks the crystal ball out of Collector's hands. He says, my crystal flying from my hands, it will shatter. Well, yeah, that's the idea. And shatter it does. But before the towering Titan can launch a new attack, he grabs something else. These are the beans which inspired the legend of Jack and the Beanstalk. All I need is hurl them to the ground, so... And... And when the mists have cleared, you will be face to face with your doom. Goliath thinks he's no mere simple madman, as I might have thought. He has too many weapons, too many powers. And sure enough, when the mists clear, seconds later, the Titanic Avenger is confronted by two snarling giants whose great size equals his own. Goliath says, you've got a great bag of tricks, Collector, but I'm not buying. Collector says, you've made me use up the most priceless beans on earth, but it will be worth it when I see you go down in defeat before my very eyes. So look at these giants. They're all dressed up for Christmas in red and green. Far be it from me to knock the virtues of size, but being big isn't everything, kids. Thick knowledge of judo and karate can come in mighty handy too. And he says, be patient, skinhead. I'll get to you in a minute. So he attacks the green one. And then whap. If you think that leather belt will stop me, you're as dumb as you look, Charlie. And on the other side of the chamber, we've got the Beetle coming with Captain America. Here is Captain America. The other two are trapped behind a ton of rock. You fool, says the Collector. That won't stop them. Have you forgotten the hex power of Scarlet Witch? I wonder if Scarlet Witch is forgotten. Nope. Even as the Collector bellows in mounting rage. It's them, says Beetle. This time I'll finish them for good. And then Collector says to Scarlet Witch and Hawkeye, you should have escaped while you had the chance. Now it's too late. Scarlet Witch says, there he is, Hawkeye. Let's get them both. Just step aside, gorgeous. It's the Beetle I'm after first. So he pulls an arrow. But he thinks he parried my arrow with his phony fingers. But at least I took the heat off Wanda. Uh-oh, the big boy's in trouble. So Goliath is being wrapped with this big belt. He's thinking he's trying to put me out of action by hog-tying me with that leather strap. But I can't stop struggling. I can't fail now, not when the Wasp needs me. And Scarlet Witch thinks only my hex power can help him, but my aim must be perfect. I must shatter the strap without injuring the Avenger. I can wait no longer now. Sure enough, zap! The thing snapped, thinks Goliath. It must have been Wanda. I'm free. And then in a paroxysm of animal fury, the largest Avenger of all strikes out as only Goliath can. Boom! This sinks it, mister. So he strikes at the red-clad giant. And next, before the Collector can make another move, he reaches out his hand and says, hold it, Crumb. You're not going anywhere. So, the Collector's snappy rejoinder is muffled by the cloak wrapped around his face. I'm through making speeches, says Goliath. I'll tell you this just once. Hand over the Wasp, and I mean now, or no power on earth will save you from me. Very well, says the Collector. You shall get your wish, but I promise you'll live to regret it. Then swiftly, the Collector takes a tiny object from a pocket in his robe. Here she is, safely locked within this vial. Now, put me down gently, or I'll shatter the container. She cannot return to normal size while she is imprisoned within that cylinder. And so, as long as I hold her thus, you must do as I say. Now march, all of you, into the dungeon cells I have prepared for you. The final victory is still mine. But Quicksilver and Captain America both regain consciousness at almost the same instant. Pietro, quick, whispers Cap, while Hawkeye is blocking his view. I understand it, Cap. Leave it to me. Whiz! And then it happens. Quicksilver moves speedily and he says, I'll take that vial. It may be too heavy for you. Who? What? Quicksilver! Hollers the Collector. He realizes he forgot the Speedy Avenger. The Wasp is safe now, says Cap. Close in on him carefully. Don't take your eyes off him. Relax, Winghead. A butterball could handle this now. But Scarlet Witch is more aware. He still looks strangely confident. Indeed, says the Collector, I have good reason to be confident, as you shall soon learn. Beetle, stand by my side. With all of them around us, you don't have to tell me twice. Zip! Too bad your bumbling Avengers cannot stop me from seizing this valuable artifact. Look out! Make one false move with that gizmo and you've had it, chum. Never fear, I shall make no move at all. Then why? He's fading away, says Scarlet Witch. There is no need to move. Merely by touching this temporal assimilator, I activate it instantly. Do not look so alarmed, young lady. All the wonders I've collected, this time machine is my greatest prize. A time machine? We'll never get him now. That's it, Beetle. Merely by touching the assimilator, you shall join me in a trip to else time. All right, it's going to move to another time. And they're both gone. Well, that's a disappointment. But at least we rescued the Wasp. All that remains now is to free her from that vial. My hex power shall do that for us. Just let me concentrate. And Pietro says, she's so small, yet so courageous. You did it, Wanda. Zap. The cylinder shatters, and Janet Van Dyne realizes I'm free. Finally, out of the strange vial, the wonderful Wasp quickly expands to normal size. Look, she's wearing no mask. And Hank says, I've revealed my true identity, Jan. You might as well do the same. Very well, Blue Eyes, she says, I will. And there she is. The beautiful Janet Van Dyne, also wealthy, and she introduces herself. And Jan says, I love your new name, Goliath, but how about shrinking down to pucker up size again? After all, I've missed you, dear. And so he's at his 25-foot size, and he says, that's the best offer I've had all day. This is like old times, says Jan, and I love it. But then Hank cries out, oh, Hank, what is it? What's wrong? I was careless. I remained giant-sized too long. Now the sudden strain of shrinking is too much. Hank, he stopped shrinking at 10 feet. He never did it before, and he's blacking out. Hank says, I can't control it any longer. If I don't get my ability back, I'll remain this way, 10 feet tall forever, forever. Oh! And he blacks out and collapses at their feet. Is he? Hawk says, he's still breathing, but if he lost his power to change size, that means he'll remain 10 feet tall. He'll be a freak. Pietro says, I grieve for him. Jan says, it's my fault. He did it to save me, and now look what I've done to him. Cap says, don't reproach yourself, Jan. He'd give his life 100 times to save yours. But can it be that another Avenger has left our ranks to return no more? Well, we'll find out in the next issue. Who's in the next issue? Power Man, Swordsman, and the Black Widow. Enough said. Let's look and see. Look at that. There's Goliath. He's up and about at his 10-foot size, and he's grabbed hold of the swordsman who has his sword ready to strike. And there's the super strong Power Man with a club, and to one side is the beautiful but clever Black Widow. What's she doing in this scene? And behind are the other Avengers: Hawkeye, Quicksilver, Captain America, Scarlet Witch, and I'm sure that the Wasp is flying around somewhere as well. And so we're back to a new team of Avengers, and we'll get to them the next time we gather around the TV for a Papa video. All right, well, there you've got it. We've got Goliath back, but more soap opera more troubles await him. So we'll see what happens. Hope y'all enjoyed the story. We'll do another one soon. Bye bye.